Introduction: The Power of Asking. Welcome to the Art of Asking. Get anything you want, written and published by Imperium Audiobooks. Let me begin with a question that might feel uncomfortably familiar. How many chances have you let slip away, not because you weren't qualified, not because you weren't ready, but simply because you didn't ask? Think about it. The raise you deserved but never requested. The business opportunity you knew you were perfect for but stayed silent about. The help you needed but felt too proud or too afraid to seek. The connection you wished for but never pursued. If we're honest, most of us aren't missing out on life because of lack of talent. We're missing out because of lack of asking. Here's what separates those who achieve extraordinary success from everyone else. They ask. They ask for opportunities. They ask for mentorship. They ask for resources, for feedback, for collaboration, for help when they need it, and for more when they know they're worth it. And here's the secret. Asking isn't begging, it isn't weakness, it isn't rude. When done correctly, asking is one of the most powerful tools you will ever have. In this audiobook, I'm going to teach you how to ask in a way that feels natural, respectful, and persuasive, so that more often than not, the answer you get is yes. We'll talk about why most people are afraid to ask and how to break through that fear. We'll explore how to communicate with confidence so people want to help you. We'll look at the psychology of persuasion, how to handle rejection and turn it into opportunity, and how to create win-win scenarios that make your requests irresistible. By the time you finish this book, you won't just understand the power of asking, you'll have a practical framework for making the big asks that change your life. You'll stop waiting for permission. You'll stop hoping someone notices you. You'll step up, speak up, and unlock doors that you didn't even know were available to you. My promise to you is this: if you apply what you learn here, you will look back 6 months from now and barely recognize your life. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will be within your grasp. The right people will show up. The resources you need will appear. And you will finally experience the quiet confidence of someone who knows how to get what they want, not by manipulation or force, but by courage, clarity, and connection. So take a deep breath. This is the moment where hesitation ends. Let's begin rewriting your story, one powerful ask at a time. Chapter 1. Why we don't ask and how it holds us back. If asking is so powerful, why don't more of us do it? Why do so many talented, hard-working people quietly wait on the sidelines, hoping someone will notice them, hoping someone will give them permission, hoping opportunity will just land in their lap? The answer is simple, and it's almost always fear. For most of us, the fear of rejection is hardwired. Somewhere deep inside, we're terrified of hearing the word no. We're afraid it means we aren't good enough, that we overstepped, that we embarrassed ourselves. And because that fear feels so real, we choose the safer option. We stay silent. We tell ourselves we'll ask later, when we feel ready, when we've achieved a little more, when the timing is perfect. But later never comes, and the opportunity passes. This fear is not imaginary. It comes from our biology. Our brains are wired to seek social acceptance. Thousands of years ago, rejection from the group could literally mean death. Being cast out meant losing access to food, shelter, and protection. Today, rejection doesn't carry that kind of risk, but our brains don't know the difference. The same alarm bells go off when someone tells us no, as if we were being pushed out of the tribe. That's why your heart pounds before asking for a raise. That's why your palms sweat before speaking up in a meeting. That's why you replay conversations in your head, thinking of all the things you could have said but didn't. It's not just social anxiety, it's survival instinct. But here's the problem. What once kept us safe is now keeping us small. In a world full of opportunity, staying silent is one of the costliest decisions you can make. Every day that you don't ask is a day you delay your goals, your dreams, your next level. Let's be honest, not asking has a price. It costs you money. It costs you time. It costs you growth. Think about it. How many months, even years, have been wasted because you were too afraid to ask for help or too shy to seek clarity? How many promotions went to someone else simply because they spoke up first? How many doors stayed shut because you never knocked? When you don't ask, you create a story in your head, and often that story is wrong. You assume someone would have said no. You assume they would have judged you. You assume they didn't want to help. But more often than not, the opposite is true. People are willing to help, but they aren't mind readers. They're busy, distracted, focused on their own lives. They don't know what you need unless you tell them. This is the first mental shift we need to make. Asking is not a burden, it's a bridge. It connects what you want with the person who can give it to you. When done with clarity and respect, asking isn't taking, it's creating an opportunity for collaboration, for exchange, for value to be shared. Think about the last time someone asked you for help. Did you resent them for asking? Probably not. In fact, you might have felt good about it. Helping people makes us feel useful, connected and significant. Most people are happy to say yes if they can, but they can't say yes to a request you never make. The second reason we don't ask is pride. We like to think we can do it all ourselves. We tell ourselves, I don't want to bother anyone, or if I really deserve it, they'll offer it without me asking. But this mindset keeps us stuck. Self-reliance is admirable, but it can also become a trap. If you insist on doing everything alone, you slow yourself down and cut yourself off from the support that could get you where you want to go faster. And then there's the fear of appearing needy, pushy or selfish. Many of us were raised to believe that asking is impolite, that good things come to those who wait, that we should be grateful for whatever we're given, but waiting passively is not gratitude, it's surrender. You can be deeply grateful for what you have while still boldly asking for what you want. The truth is, people who get what they want are not necessarily the most deserving. They're the ones who make their desires known. They speak up, they risk hearing no, and because they ask more often, they get more yeses. So the first step toward mastering the art of asking is to reframe what asking really means. It's not weakness, it's not begging, it's not being difficult. Asking is an act of leadership. It's the decision to take responsibility for your needs and goals, rather than waiting for someone else to guess them. Every great achievement you can think of started with an ask. A founder asked an investor to believe in their vision. A young professional asked for a chance to prove themselves. A scientist asked for funding to test an idea. A writer asked a publisher to take a risk on their manuscript. Asking is the seed from which opportunity grows. And yes, sometimes the answer will be no, but even then you win, you gain clarity. You know where you stand. You free yourself from the uncertainty that eats away at your energy. And often, no is just the first step toward a future yes. From this point forward, I want you to notice how many moments in your day present an opportunity to ask. Big asks, small asks, even silly asks, they all count. You are building the muscle of courage, the habit of speaking up, the confidence to claim your space in the world. If this chapter does nothing else, I want it to wake you up to the cost of silence. Every time you choose not to ask, you're choosing to settle for less than what's possible. You're choosing to leave potential on the table. You're choosing to keep the door closed. But starting today, that stops. You are going to start asking, not recklessly, not arrogantly, but with clarity, respect, and courage. You are going to start creating the opportunities you've been waiting for, because the truth is, no one is coming to save you. The person who will change your life is you, and it starts with opening your mouth and asking for what you want. Chapter 2. The Anatomy of a Powerful Ask. Now that we've uncovered why so many of us are afraid to ask, it's time to go a step further and understand what makes a powerful ask. Because here's the truth. Not all asks are equal. Some requests inspire enthusiasm and cooperation. Others make people hesitate or even say no before you finish speaking. The difference lies not in luck, but in strategy. Clarity is the first cornerstone of a successful ask. Most people think they're being clear, but they aren't. They hint. They dance around what they want. They speak in vague terms, hoping the other person will fill in the blanks. But ambiguity is the enemy of yes. If someone has to guess what you mean, they are more likely to delay, deflect, or deny your request. Think about it. If a friend texted you, "Can you help me sometime next week?" you might feel unsure what they really mean. Help with what? When exactly? how much time is involved. Because you don't know, you might hesitate before committing. Now imagine they texted, "Hey, can you help me move boxes next Saturday at 10 a.m.? It should take about 2 hours. That is clear, specific and actionable. You know what they need, when they need it, and how big the commitment is. Your brain can make a quick yes or no decision. The same is true for any ask in business, relationships, or personal life. The clearer you are, the easier you make it for the other person to say yes. That means being precise about what you want, why it matters, and what outcome you're hoping for. The second pillar is confidence. People respond not only to your words, but to your energy. If you deliver your ask as if you're unsure whether you deserve it, you invite hesitation. Your tone, posture, and facial expressions tell a story before your words ever land. If you sound apologetic, hesitant, or overly self-deprecating, people subconsciously assume that what you're asking for might not be important. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means showing that you have thought through your request, that it's reasonable, and that you believe it's worth considering. When you ask with confidence, you project respect, both for yourself and for the person you're asking. This is where preparation becomes your ally. Before you make any important ask, take time to prepare mentally. Write down exactly what you want. Practice saying it out loud until it feels natural. Anticipate potential objections so you can respond calmly and respectfully. Preparation eliminates much of the anxiety that makes people stumble when they finally make their request. Another key component of a strong ask is framing. How you frame your request can make the difference between resistance and agreement. Human beings are wired to look for mutual benefit. We naturally ask ourselves, what's in it for me? If your ask is framed in a way that shows how it benefits the other person, they are far more likely to agree. Let's say you want more resources for your project at work. You could say, "I need 2 extra people on my team because I'm overwhelmed." That focuses only on your need. Or you could say, "If we can bring 2 additional people onto this project, we'll hit the deadline ahead of schedule and improve the client's experience." That frames your ask in terms of the outcome that benefits everyone, your manager, your team, and the organization. This isn't manipulation, it's alignment. It's about connecting your request to a shared goal so that everyone wins. When people feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves, they are far more willing to say yes. Timing also plays a role. Asking at the wrong moment can sabotage even a well-prepared request. If someone is rushed, stressed, or distracted, they are less likely to be receptive. Learn to read the room. Wait for moments when the other person is relatively calm and focused. If necessary, schedule a conversation rather than springing your ask on them unexpectedly. And finally, keep in mind that the delivery of your ask matters just as much as its content. Speak clearly and simply. Avoid over-explaining or justifying excessively. Too much justification can make your request sound weak. State your ask, explain briefly why it matters, and then stop talking. Give the other person space to respond. Let's pause and think about how this works in real life. Imagine you're asking for a raise. A weak approach might sound like this. Hi, I just wanted to see if maybe I could get, some kind of raise or something. I mean, I think I've been doing pretty good work, but if now's not a good time, that's okay." Notice how uncertain and apologetic that sounds. It almost invites a no because the speaker doesn't sound convinced themselves. Now compare it to a stronger approach. "I'd like to talk about adjusting my compensation. Over the past 12 months, I've taken on 3 new accounts, delivered results ahead of schedule, and helped increase revenue by 20%. Based on this performance, I believe a raise of 10% would be appropriate. Is that something we can put in place this quarter?" That version is clear, specific, and backed by evidence. It communicates value, not just desire. It also invites a conversation rather than a one-sided decision. Here's what's powerful about learning to ask this way. The more you do it, the more confident you become. Each successful ask builds positive reinforcement. Even when you don't get exactly what you asked for, you walk away stronger because you spoke up for yourself. Asking is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. That's why I encourage you to start small. Begin with low-stakes asks in your everyday life. Ask for a small favor. Ask for a minor discount. Ask someone for their opinion. These small asks help you build the muscle so that when the big opportunities come, you're ready. Remember, clarity, confidence, framing, timing, and delivery. Master these 5 elements, and you will dramatically increase your chances of hearing yes. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper into the psychology of persuasion, how to make your requests more persuasive by aligning them with the other person's values and motivations. Once you understand this, you'll not only be asking, you'll be asking in a way that inspires people to say yes because they genuinely want to. Chapter 3. The Psychology of Yes. At this point, you already know why asking is powerful and how to make a clear, confident request. But there's another level, understanding what makes people want to say yes. Think about it. A great ask isn't just about what you want. It's about making the other person feel good about giving it to you. True influence is not pressure or manipulation. It's creating a situation where helping you also helps them. Human behavior is driven by a handful of powerful psychological triggers. When you understand these triggers and use them ethically, you become far more persuasive. One of the strongest is reciprocity, the natural human tendency to return a favor. When someone gives us something of value, we feel an almost automatic desire to give something back. This is why free samples work so well in marketing. You feel a subtle pull to buy the product after receiving something for free. You can use reciprocity to make your asks more powerful. If you consistently bring value to others through your work, your attitude, your generosity, they will be more inclined to say yes when you ask for something. This doesn't mean keeping score or manipulating people. It means showing up as someone who contributes first. When you do, your asks feel like a natural continuation of a relationship rather than a sudden demand. Another key principle is social proof. People look to others to decide what's normal, acceptable, or safe. If you can show that what you're asking for is something others have already agreed to, you reduce resistance. For example, if you're asking your boss to invest in a training program, you might mention that several other teams in the company have already implemented it successfully. This signals that your request is reasonable and backed by precedent. Authority is another powerful lever. People are more likely to say yes to someone who is credible, knowledgeable, and confident. This is why presenting evidence or data can strengthen your ask. If you're asking for a new software tool, bring statistics on how it will improve efficiency. If you're asking someone to mentor you, briefly explain why you chose them specifically, mention their expertise, achievements, or experience. This shows respect and makes them feel valued. Scarcity is also a factor. When something feels rare or time-sensitive, it becomes more valuable. You can ethically use scarcity by being clear about timeframes or limited opportunities. For instance, saying, "I'd love to collaborate with you on this project before the deadline next month," adds urgency without being manipulative. But perhaps the most powerful principle of all is alignment with values. People are more likely to agree when they see that your ask supports their goals, values, or identity. This means taking time to understand what matters to the person you're asking. What are their priorities? What problems are they trying to solve? What do they care about most? Let's say you're asking for funding for a community project. If the decision-maker cares deeply about youth education, frame your ask in terms of how the project will help local students. If they care about economic development, highlight the jobs or growth it will create. The more your ask aligns with their values, the more it becomes a win-win. There's also the emotional side of persuasion. Logic alone rarely motivates people, emotion does. When you make your request, connect it to a story, a vision, or a feeling. Don't just present facts, paint a picture of what will happen if they say yes. Help them imagine the positive outcome and how good it will feel. For example, imagine you're asking someone to invest in your business idea. Instead of just listing numbers, you might say, "Imagine 6 months from now when this product is in stores and you can hold it in your hands, knowing you helped bring it to life." This activates emotion, pride, excitement, curiosity, which makes agreement far more likely. Of course, persuasion must always be used with integrity. This is not about tricking anyone into saying yes. It's about finding true alignment and presenting your request in the most compelling, respectful way possible. When you do this, you build trust rather than erode it. One more thing, the way you respond to a no is just as important as how you make your ask. If someone turns you down, resist the urge to become defensive or shut down. Instead, thank them for considering it and ask a follow-up question. What would make this possible in the future? Or what would you need to see before saying yes? This keeps the door open and gives you valuable insight for next time. People often say no because of timing, competing priorities, or incomplete information, not because they don't want to help. A gracious response builds goodwill, and sometimes that initial no becomes a yes down the road. The real art of asking is not about winning every time, it's about playing the long game. Every respectful ask, every well-handled no, every mutually beneficial yes, builds your reputation as someone worth listening to. Over time, this reputation compounds, and doors that were once closed begin to open almost automatically. By now you can see that asking isn't just about words. It's about psychology, presence, timing, and alignment. It's about understanding what drives people and inviting them into a vision where saying yes feels natural and rewarding. In the next chapter, we're going to take this one step further and talk about how to build unstoppable confidence, so you don't just ask occasionally, you ask consistently, because the more you ask, the more opportunities you create, and soon getting what you want becomes less about luck and more about habit. Chapter 4. Building Unstoppable Confidence. Confidence is the fuel that powers every ask you'll ever make. Without it, even the most carefully worded request can fall flat. With it, even a bold, ambitious ask can land with authority and inspire a yes. But let's be clear, confidence is not something you are either born with or not. Confidence is built, one choice, one action, one ask at a time. If you struggle with confidence, you are not broken, you are human. Most people secretly wrestle with self-doubt, even those who seem fearless on the outside. The difference between those who stay quiet and those who step forward isn't the absence of fear, it's what they do with it. The first step to building confidence is understanding that fear will always show up when the stakes are high. That pounding heart, that tightness in your chest, that little voice in your head that whispers, "What if they say no?" That is not a sign that you shouldn't ask. It's a sign that you care. It's your body's way of preparing you for something meaningful. Instead of trying to eliminate fear, learn to move with it. Fear thrives in silence and avoidance. The longer you wait to act, the louder it becomes. But when you face it directly, when you take a breath, open your mouth and make the ask, fear loses its power. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Confidence is not built before action. It is built through action. People often say, "I'll ask once I feel confident." But waiting for confidence is a trap. If you wait until you feel completely ready, you'll wait forever. The courage comes first, and the confidence follows. Think of confidence like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Start with small reps. Make simple, low-stakes asks in your daily life. Ask for an extra topping at the cafe. Ask for a small discount at a shop. Ask someone for advice on something you respect them for. Each of these tiny acts rewires your brain to see asking not as a threat, but as a normal, safe behavior. As your brain gets used to the act of asking, it stops setting off such loud alarm bells. What once felt terrifying begins to feel routine, and soon you can make bigger and bolder requests without the same level of anxiety. Another powerful tool for building confidence is preparation. Nothing reduces anxiety like knowing you are ready. Before a big ask, do your homework. Research the person you're asking, understand their priorities, and be ready to explain why your request makes sense. Write out what you plan to say, and practice it until it feels natural. Preparation doesn't just give you better words, it gives you better energy. People can feel when you are grounded and prepared. Your posture is different, your voice is steadier, and your presence commands respect. And here's something even more powerful. Visualize success before you ask. Close your eyes and imagine the conversation going well. Imagine the person smiling, nodding, agreeing. See yourself calm, confident, and articulate. This mental rehearsal primes your nervous system for success and dramatically increases your chances of delivering with confidence. But even with preparation, rejection will happen. and learning to handle rejection is one of the most important parts of building confidence. Most people treat rejection like a verdict on their worth, but it's not. It's feedback, information you can use to get better. Instead of running from rejection, lean into it. After a no, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Could I have been clearer? Did I ask at the right time? Was there a way to frame my request differently? Treat rejection like a coach, not a critic. The best way to build emotional resilience is to deliberately expose yourself to small doses of rejection. There's a popular exercise called rejection therapy, where you set a goal to get rejected at least once every day for 30 days. This might sound terrifying, but it works. You quickly learn that rejection is not fatal. People say no and then life goes on. You survive and you get stronger. With time, you even start to see rejection as progress. Every no brings you closer to a yes because you are in the arena, taking shots, moving forward. The person who asks 100 times and hears 90 no's still ends up with 10 yeses, while the person who asks 0 times ends up with nothing. Finally, remember that confidence isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you carry yourself. Your body language communicates volumes before you even speak. Stand tall, roll your shoulders back, breathe deeply, make eye contact. When your body projects confidence, your mind follows, and perhaps the most important mindset shift of all, detach your sense of worth from the outcome of any single ask. You are not your yeses, you are not your no's, you are the person who had the courage to ask, and that alone puts you ahead of the majority of people who stay silent. When you build this kind of inner strength, asking stops being a gamble and becomes a practice, a way of life. You become the kind of person who steps forward, speaks up and creates opportunities rather than waiting for them. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to design a life where asking becomes second nature, where you don't just ask occasionally, you build an ecosystem of relationships, allies and opportunities so that you are always just one ask away from the next breakthrough. Chapter 5. Building your asking ecosystem. Confidence and clarity are powerful tools, but there's another ingredient that can transform your ability to get what you want: access. Even the most confident, perfectly worded ask can fall flat if you're asking the wrong person or asking in an environment where the odds are stacked against you. That's why we need to talk about building an ecosystem of opportunity, a network that supports your goals and increases the likelihood that your asks will be heard, respected and acted upon. Many people think of networking as a shallow game of collecting business cards or adding strangers on LinkedIn, but that's not what I'm talking about. Building your asking ecosystem is about creating meaningful, mutually beneficial relationships with people who can open doors and whose doors you are willing to open in return. Start with this simple truth: relationships are built before they are needed. Too many people make the mistake of only reaching out when they need something. This feels transactional and one-sided, and people can sense it immediately. If you want people to say yes to your asks, invest in those relationships long before you make a request. This means showing up consistently, comment on people's work, share resources that might be useful to them, offer a genuine compliment, check in without an agenda. These small, consistent actions build trust over time, and trust is the currency of every yes you will ever receive. Think of your network like a garden. You don't just plant seeds the day you want to harvest. You water, you nurture, you pull weeds, you create the right conditions for growth. Relationships are no different. The stronger your network, the easier it becomes to make asks, because you are no longer asking from a place of desperation, but from a foundation of mutual respect. A powerful network is also diverse. Don't just surround yourself with people who are exactly like you or who work in the same industry. Build relationships across different fields, skill sets and backgrounds. This gives you access to a wider range of perspectives, resources and opportunities. For example, if you're an entrepreneur, it's easy to spend all your time talking to other entrepreneurs. But what about lawyers, marketers, financial advisors, mentors and customers? Each of these relationships can unlock different kinds of support. The broader and deeper your network, the more likely it is that someone you know will have the key to the door you want to open, And here's a powerful secret: you don't have to be important to build a valuable network. You simply have to be intentional. You can start where you are, with the people already around you, colleagues, classmates, neighbors, friends. Then gradually expand by seeking out communities where ambitious, generous people gather, professional groups, masterminds, conferences, online forums. When you meet someone new, approach with curiosity, not agenda. Ask them about their work, their challenges, their wins. Listen more than you talk. The most magnetic people are those who make others feel heard and valued. Paradoxically, this also makes people more likely to want to help you later. Once you have begun building these connections, nurture them. Send a quick message when you think of them. Congratulate them on their achievements. Be the person who remembers birthdays, promotions, and milestones. These gestures may seem small, but they create goodwill, and goodwill is what makes someone go out of their way to help you when you ask. Now let's talk about positioning. Positioning means becoming known for something. When people know what you stand for and what you're working toward, they can connect you with the right opportunities. If no one knows what you want, no one can help you get it. This doesn't mean constantly talking about yourself. It means showing up consistently in a way that communicates your values and goals. Share insights about your field. Talk about the projects you're working on. Mention what kind of opportunities you're seeking. Do it casually, naturally, as part of conversation, not as a sales pitch. Positioning also means being known as someone who delivers. If you want people to say yes when you ask, be reliable when others ask something of you. Follow through on your commitments. Be the kind of person whose word carries weight. People say yes to those they trust, and trust is built through consistent action over time. Another crucial element of your asking ecosystem is proximity. The closer you are to the people who can say yes, the more opportunities you will have. This might mean physically putting yourself in the right rooms, attending events, joining organizations, showing up where decisions are made, or it might mean creating proximity online by engaging with thought leaders, joining discussions, and sharing thoughtful contributions. Remember this: people rarely go out of their way to give opportunities to someone they barely know, but they almost always think of the people who are front of mind. Your job is to become front of mind, not by being pushy, but by showing up consistently and adding value. When your ecosystem is strong, asking becomes easier. It stops feeling like an interruption and starts feeling like a natural next step in a relationship. The person you're asking already knows you, trusts you, and understands what you're about, so their default response is more likely to be yes. This chapter is about playing the long game. Building your network and positioning yourself may take time, but it pays dividends for years to come. Every connection you make, every relationship you nurture, every impression you leave becomes part of the foundation on which your future asks will stand. In the next chapter, we're going to dive into the practical art of crafting irresistible asks, turning your requests into opportunities that feel exciting and easy to agree to. Because when you combine confidence, relationships, and a perfectly crafted request, you stop begging for favors and start creating collaborations. Chapter 7. Mastering the Art of No. No matter how skilled you become at asking, no matter how perfect your timing, tone, and clarity are, you will still hear the word no. Sometimes it will be polite, sometimes blunt, sometimes it will sting. But here's the truth: rejection is not the enemy of asking. It's a natural, essential part of the process. Think about it. Every successful negotiator, entrepreneur, artist, or leader has faced more rejections than they can count. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not how often they hear yes, but how they respond to no. Rejection mastery is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned. When you shift your relationship with rejection, you remove the fear that stops most people from asking at all. Instead of seeing no as failure, you start seeing it as feedback, redirection, and even a form of respect. Step 1. Redefine no. The first step is to take the emotional sting out of rejection. Most people take no personally, as a statement about their worth or the value of what they're asking for. But in most cases, no is not about you. No might mean consistent, not right now, not in this format, Not from me, but maybe from someone else. Think of no as data. It's information that helps you refine your approach. If you get a no, ask yourself, was my ask clear enough? Was the timing right? Did I frame the benefit in a way that mattered to them? Every no gives you clues on how to make your next ask stronger. Step 2. Practice emotional neutrality. This is easier said than done, but incredibly powerful. When you hear no, resist the urge to spiral into overthinking. They must not like me. I'll never get another chance. I should stop trying. Instead, take a breath. Say thank you. Stay calm and professional. By responding with emotional maturity, you preserve the relationship and leave the door open for future opportunities. This is especially important if you want to ask the same person again later. If you respond defensively or bitterly, you burn the bridge. But if you handle no with grace, you communicate that you're someone worth saying yes to in the future. Step 3. Ask why, carefully. Sometimes it's helpful to ask for feedback after a rejection, but only if you do it tactfully. You might say, "Run. Thanks for letting me know. Would you mind sharing what led to that decision? It would really help me learn. I totally understand. Is there anything I could do differently in the future to make this a better fit?" Not everyone will have time to give feedback, but when they do, it's gold. You're not just asking again, you're gathering insight that will make your next ask sharper. Just because you hear no today doesn't mean it's a no forever. Circumstances change, budgets open up, priorities shift. If your relationship with the person remains strong, you might get a yes 6 months later. A simple way to do this is to follow up after a reasonable time frame, not to push but to reconnect. You might say, "Run. Hi name, just checking in. Completely understand if things haven't changed, but I wanted to keep you in the loop about new development." When you do this respectfully, you keep yourself on their radar without becoming a nuisance. Step 5. Use no as motivation. Many people let no stop them. The most successful people use no to fuel them. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter manuscript was rejected 12 times before a publisher said yes. Colonel Sanders was turned down over 1,000 times before someone invested in his chicken recipe. What if they had stopped after the first no, or the 10th, or the 100th? Every no is proof that you're in the arena, taking swings, playing the game, and every no gets you closer to the yes that matters. Step 6. Have more irons in the fire. One reason rejection feels so crushing is because we pin all our hopes on a single ask. When there's only one potential yes on the table, a no feels like the end of the road. But when you're making multiple asks, building multiple relationships, exploring multiple paths, one no doesn't stop you. It just redirects you to the next opportunity. This is why successful askers always have a pipeline, a steady flow of opportunities they're working on, connections they're nurturing, doors they're knocking on. No single yes makes or breaks them. Step 7. Celebrate the ask itself. Here's a radical shift. Stop measuring success only by how many yeses you get. Start measuring success by how many times you were brave enough to ask. This mindset changes everything. Every ask becomes a win, regardless of the answer, because you're practicing the muscle of courage. Over time, this makes you fearless, and fearless askers eventually win big. Rejection mastery doesn't mean you'll enjoy hearing no, but it does mean that no will stop controlling you. Instead of shrinking your world, rejection will expand it. You will become bolder, clearer, and more resilient. And when you stop fearing no, your asks will actually get better, because you'll take bigger, smarter risks. In the next chapter, we're going to explore leverage, how to use momentum, social proof, and timing to make your asks exponentially more powerful. This is where asking moves from a one-on-one interaction to a skill that can influence entire networks. Chapter 8. The Power of Leverage. By now you've learned how to ask with clarity, confidence, and emotional intelligence, but there's another level to this game, one that can transform your asking from a one-on-one skill into a scalable, influential force. That level is leverage. Leverage is the ability to amplify your ask by adding weight to it, through timing, credibility, relationships, or momentum, so that saying yes becomes almost inevitable. It's the difference between asking with your bare hands and asking with a lever that moves the world. Momentum. The energy behind your ask. Momentum is one of the most underrated forces in human behavior. People are far more likely to say yes when they sense something is already moving, already happening, already succeeding. Nobody wants to be the first to take a risk, but once they see that others are on board, their fear of missing out kicks in. Think about crowdfunding campaigns. The most successful ones usually raise a lot of money early, because early backers create social proof and momentum. People see the number climbing and think, this is going somewhere, I should get in on this. You can use this principle with your asks. Instead of saying, would you be interested in sponsoring my event? Say, we already have 3 local businesses sponsoring our event, and we'd love for your brand to be featured alongside them. The difference is subtle but powerful. You're not asking them to take a lonely leap. You're inviting them to join something that's already gaining traction. If you don't have momentum yet, create it. Start small. Get a single yes, then use that yes as social proof to get the next one. Social proof. Borrowing credibility. Social proof is the psychological phenomenon where people look to others to decide what's good, safe, or worthwhile. When you demonstrate that respected people have already said yes to you, you lower the perceived risk for everyone else. This is why testimonials, endorsements, and case studies are so persuasive. They answer the unspoken question, has anyone else trusted you before? When making an ask, use social proof where appropriate. We've worked with clients like well-known company. This idea has already been featured in publication. Last year we had over 500 participants and a 92% satisfaction rate. You're not bragging, you're reassuring. You're showing them that this is not a gamble, it's a proven opportunity. Authority and credibility. Leverage also comes from authority, being perceived as knowledgeable, reliable, or well-connected. The more credible you are, the easier it is for people to say yes because they trust that their yes won't backfire. Authority isn't just about titles or fame. It's about how you present yourself. Do you come prepared? Do you communicate clearly? Do you follow through on what you promise? People pay attention to those who take themselves seriously. Even small signals of professionalism can increase your perceived authority. Having a clean, easy-to-read proposal or pitch deck, showing up on time and being organized, speaking confidently about your topic or idea. These things tell people you're safe to say yes to. Timing and context. Another form of leverage is timing, asking when the person is most receptive. This could mean catching them right after a win, when they're feeling generous. Or it could mean asking before their calendar fills up, before budgets close, before decisions are finalized. Pay attention to context. If you know someone just had a major success, congratulate them, then make your ask while they're riding that high. Positive emotions increase the likelihood of a positive response, creating win-win-win scenarios. True leverage creates value for everyone involved, not just you and the person you're asking, but often a third party as well. This is where collaboration becomes irresistible. For example, if you're asking a company to sponsor your event, frame it as a win for them. Brand exposure, a win for the attendees, better experience, and a win for the community, support for a worthy cause. When you can show that your ask creates a ripple of benefit, saying yes becomes the logical choice. The law of the first domino. Sometimes leverage is about sequencing your asks strategically. Get a small yes first, a low-risk commitment, then use that yes to unlock bigger ones. This is called the foot-in-the-door technique. Psychologists have shown that once someone agrees to a small request, they are far more likely to agree to a larger one later, because they want to remain consistent with their previous behavior. For example, if you want a high-profile speaker at your event, don't ask them first. Ask someone mid-tier first. Secure their yes. Then approach the bigger name and say, we already have confirmed. We'd love for you to headline alongside them. Now you have leverage. Stacking leverage. The real magic happens when you combine multiple forms of leverage at once. Momentum. We already have 300 pre-orders. Social proof. Top industry experts have endorsed this product. Authority. Here's our proven track record. Timing. This is launching next month. Early partners get featured in the press release. Each one adds weight to your ask until saying yes feels not just safe, but smart. Leverage turns asking into more than a conversation. It turns it into a movement. And when you can generate that kind of energy, opportunities begin to find you, not the other way around. In the next chapter, we'll explore multiplying your asks, using systems, habits, and even automation to scale your requests and dramatically increase the number of opportunities coming your way. This is where you go from playing small to playing big. Chapter 9. Scaling your asks. You've mastered confidence. You've built your network. You've learned to craft clear, irresistible asks and to handle rejection with grace. You've even discovered how to use momentum and social proof to amplify your requests. But there's still one more level to reach: scale. Scaling your asks means turning asking from a once-in-a-while effort into a consistent habit, a system that is always working for you, even when you're not actively thinking about it. Because here's the truth: opportunity doesn't just happen once. Opportunity is constant. But you only catch the opportunities you are prepared for, and you only catch the opportunities you ask for. The most successful people aren't necessarily the most talented or the most connected. They're often simply the ones who ask the most, ask the smartest, and ask the most consistently. They've made asking part of their operating system. Create an asking routine, just like you might have a morning routine, a workout routine, or a financial routine. You need a routine for asking. This doesn't mean pestering people. It means regularly identifying where you need help, support, or resources, and taking action to secure them. For example, you could set aside 30 minutes every week to review your current goals and identify where you're stuck. List out what resources or introductions could move you forward. Write and send at least one free thoughtful asks. This turns asking from a reactive activity, "I only ask when I'm desperate," into a proactive one, "I ask regularly to stay in momentum." Systematize your network. Scaling also means creating a system for staying connected with people in your ecosystem. This is not about spamming everyone you know. It's about staying visible and valuable so that when you do make an ask, it feels natural. A few strategies. Create a simple database of contacts. Track who they are, what they care about, and how you can help them. Set reminders to follow up. Every few months, check in, even if you're not asking for anything. Share value regularly. Send articles, tools, or opportunities that might benefit them. When your network is nurtured, it becomes fertile ground for future asks. Batch your asks. Instead of making one-off requests whenever they pop into your head, try batching them. If you need several introductions, write them all out at once. If you're pitching multiple partners, prepare all your outreach at the same time. Batching not only saves time, it keeps you in the asking mindset. You'll find that the first ask might feel a little awkward, but by the third or fourth you're in flow. Your confidence compounds. Automate where possible. Some asks can even be automated, especially if they are recurring. For example, include a line at the bottom of your email signature. P.S. If you know someone who would benefit from your product/service, I'd love an introduction. Create a landing page that clearly explains what you're seeking and share it with new contacts. Build a newsletter that keeps your network informed and includes a regular low-pressure call to action. Automation allows you to multiply your asks without multiplying your workload. Leverage compounding. When you scale your asks, something amazing happens. They begin to compound. A yes today leads to more yeses tomorrow. The introduction you got last month leads to 3 new opportunities this month. The favor someone did for you opens the door to an even bigger collaboration down the road. This is why consistency matters. One ask can change your life, but 10 asks can change your trajectory forever. Measure and optimize. Just like any other skill, you should track your progress and learn from it. Keep a simple log of your asks. What did you ask for? How did you frame it? What was the result? What feedback did you receive? Over time, you'll notice patterns. You'll see which kinds of asks work best, which types of people are most responsive, and what timing gets the most yeses. This allows you to refine and improve your approach. Scale without losing humanity. One caution: as you scale, don't lose the personal touch. The more asks you make, the more important it is to stay genuine and respectful. People can feel the difference between a mass, copy-paste message and a thoughtful, personal one. Even if you use templates, Customize them. Mention something specific about the person you're asking. Show that you value them as an individual, not just as a means to an end. When you scale with heart, you create a reputation that precedes you, a reputation as someone who asks boldly, but always respectfully, and who gives as much as they receive. Scaling your asks is about building a rhythm of opportunity into your life. It's about becoming the kind of person for whom doors open regularly, not by accident but by design. And in the final chapter, we're going to bring everything together. You'll learn how to integrate confidence, clarity, network building, rejection mastery, and scaling into one cohesive practice, so that asking stops being something you do once in a while and becomes part of who you are. Chapter 10. Becoming the person who gets a yes. You've made it to the final chapter. By now you've learned how to build confidence, how to frame your requests so that they land, how to nurture a network that supports your goals, how to handle rejection with grace, and how to scale your asking so opportunities are always flowing into your life. But there's something even more important than all the tactics, scripts, and strategies we've discussed: your identity. Because the ultimate goal is not just to become good at asking, it's to become the kind of person who expects good things to happen when they ask, the kind of person who sees opportunity everywhere, the kind of person whose presence commands respect and whose requests naturally carry weight. The shift from asking to leading. When you've truly mastered the art of asking, something shifts. Your asks stop sounding like requests for help and start sounding like invitations to be part of something meaningful. People no longer feel like they are doing you a favor. They feel like they are joining a mission. This is the deepest power of asking. It turns you into a leader. Because leaders ask. Leaders enroll others in a vision. Leaders are not afraid to say, "I can't do this alone. Come build this with me." When you make asking part of who you are, you stop waiting for permission and start shaping your world, integrating the habits. Let's recap what it takes to become this person. Clarity. You know exactly what you want and why it matters. Confidence. You ask boldly and without apology, trusting that you are worthy of a yes. Connection. You nurture real relationships, giving before you get. Craftsmanship. You frame your asks in a way that excites others to participate. Resilience. You face rejection with grace, using it to grow rather than retreat. Leverage. You use momentum, social proof, and authority to make your asks powerful. Consistency. You turn asking into a routine, so opportunities never stop coming. These are not just techniques, they are habits, ways of thinking, ways of showing up in the world. Your new identity. From this point forward, see yourself not just as someone who sometimes makes requests, but as someone who creates opportunity wherever they go. You are a connector, you are a builder, you are a multiplier of value. Your asks are no longer random shots in the dark. They are deliberate steps toward the future you're building, and every yes brings that future closer. A final challenge. Here's my challenge to you. Before the day ends, make one ask. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be scary, but take action while this is fresh in your mind. Ask for an introduction. Ask for feedback. Ask for a new opportunity. Ask for something you've been afraid to ask for until now. Let this be the first of many. Let this be the start of your asking habit, because the world belongs to those who are brave enough to ask for it. Thank you for listening. You've just finished The Art of Asking. Get Anything You Want, written and published by Imperium Audiobooks. If this audiobook has shifted the way you think about opportunity, confidence, and connection, I invite you to keep growing with us. Subscribe to Imperium Audiobooks on YouTube for more powerful, life-changing audiobooks that will help you build wealth, sharpen your mind, and live at your highest potential. Your next big yes could be one ask away, so go out there and claim it.